We're 75% through this class, and all your classes for that matter. Not to bring math into it again.
Kind of crazy.
I know, right? It's nuts.
Yeah.
Everybody registered for their classes for next term?
Yeah.
Not yet, Elaine. You might not be able to yet. Yeah, it depends on, I keep forgetting. This is the first week at Hadley, right? Like, I guess the first week. I was actually on the phone last night with a student, 7:30 p.m. because she couldn't get through to her advisor, and it's her last term, next term, and she has to move out of state. And she's like, he's avoiding my emails, and I need to figure this out. And I'm like, cool, let's work. How the hell did you find me? Oh, everybody knows you. I'm like, oh. Everybody knows you. I'm not sure if that's a good thing, Chance. What'd you say?
That could be good or bad.
Exactly. It can be a good thing. You're the one that. What did she say at the end? She's like, they were right. You're the one that fixes all the problems. And I'm like, oh God. I don't need that job too. I don't need that job. I have a job. I've got too many jobs. It was fun on Monday after I left you all with the Matters. And remember, you know how every once in a while the projector will wink on and off in here? Like every 10 seconds it matters. Like I go and sit down at the computer to type something. So I started recording it. I'm like, I'm gonna make a video for the IT department so they can see. And in 15 minutes, it went on and off like 20 times. Like the class started yelling every time it happened, like a sporting event. Like, ah! So I solved that problem too. Anyway. Good morning. Hi. It's chilly out there. Wasn't expecting it. It's supposed to be up to 60, I think, tomorrow, or 65 on Friday. But it's still going to get down to freezing at night. So, moral of the story: keep hydrated. There's something nasty going around. One of my buddies at work, my department chair, Jackie, staying home today. She sounded awful yesterday. And then my other buddy, Kathy, said, yeah, 4 of my friends have COVID. I didn't realize people were still getting COVID.
Yeah.
I had no idea. And there's a flu going around. Thank God you two are here. Jesus. Bring religion into it. So anyway, stay healthy. Keep drinking water. I'm going to record today because I got a couple of notes from people that said they're not going to be able to make it in. Did you get the email video about the spreadsheet? Did anybody use it yet? Did anybody give it a shot to try it? I wasn't sure if you'd be able to give it a shot. It's probably easier at this point just to do it by hand. But as I sat down, if you haven't even opened the spreadsheet yet, be aware when you open the video and open the spreadsheet, it looks different. Because as I was making the video, I started making edits to the spreadsheet while I was going, so it's going to look a little bit different. It still behaves the same. So, Amelia, I'm sorry I didn't have time to make the instructional video. What I should have been doing was recording while I was making it, but I didn't think about that until after the fact. So, anyway, you can always go in the back and see what I did. Yeah, I guess that's all I got to jibba jabba about. So, week 8, gave you your take home last time, right? Okay, good. Good. Anybody taking a look at it yet? Is it okay? Is it acceptable? I'm trying to think of what's in it. Price of eggs. And then push-ups. Push-up randomness. Oh, that's a fun one. Push-up randomness. That should be a fun one for you. I hope you'll laugh at me. It's always a good time to laugh at me. And then I'm slowly working on your in-class parts, but they're not until mid-March. So we got like another 3 or 3.5 weeks or so till we have to talk about that. I think our exam is on... Is it Wednesday? I think it's the Wednesday that week, right? Yeah, so we'll be here on Wednesday. So that week, just put this in the back of your brain. We don't have class Monday. You just have class on that Wednesday. We'll talk more about that as it gets closer. What else? Nothing else. Let's get in the warm-up. Oh, I did make, Chelsea had a request last time about more normal distribution homework problems. I'm going to leave these here. I will get you solutions to them too. I just grabbed them all and put them into a document yesterday. I'm going to take one myself and put solutions on it. I will give you solutions to these two if you want to practice them some more. So thank you, Chelsea, if you're watching this video. And I will, would you prefer, what was that? Scare her away from math class. I'm trying to listen. He's like, whatever, dude. Put the pink glasses on, stop listening. You want video solutions or written out solutions? What would be better for you all? What do you think? You better to watch me kind of work the problems or just have them written down?
I like it. Yeah.
Video?
Yeah.
Video? Anybody else? Video? Nate, you like videos? Okay. Video, Josiah? Okay, cool. I'll do that. I mean, I'll be doing the work in the video, so I had a student, I had a student in my stats classes actually say, I don't have time to watch your videos. Could you just do all the stuff on paper? So I sent it up to the class. I'm like, hey, I'm curious. I got a request to stop making videos, and I had 3 or 4 students say, if you stop making videos, I will drop your class. I'm like, wow, well, everybody thinks differently. Everybody thinks differently, and threateningly sometimes. So it seems like videos are the desired way of getting stuff in 2025. You're welcome. We're going to start our next topic in financial literacy today, inflation. And the first thing I'm going to have you do is I'm going to have you Google up what's the matter, Alec? You look upset.
No.
No, you don't.
Well, inflation upsets me.
Well, of course it does. Mostly, well, we'll talk about it in a second. But
Yeah.
mostly because I'm not entirely sure. Anyway, I'm going to stop talking. Let's do some Google and then we'll do some. We're going to do the math of inflation today, though. I'm not saying that I agree with inflation measures or how it's tried to be kept in check, but we can analyze it mathematically, which is kind of where we're going to be going today. So we will do that once you get the and question 3 might piss you off. I'm going to tell you that right now. If it does, just hang tight. We'll do it together. I think questions 1 and 2. 1 is just Google up what inflation is, and then number 2 is a percentage problem. I don't think you have any trouble with that. But 3 might piss you off. I'm not going to lie. And if it does, just sit tight. We'll do it together. Right, I finished your grade, the grade book. Thank you for letting me know. I appreciate it. That's exactly why every week I say, check your progress reports for accuracy. Because I am inaccurate sometimes.
Upset.
Well, I don't want to upset you, because you terrify me too. You scare me. It's okay. It's okay though. It's a power you have, and you wield it well.
I don't want to seem too flattered when you say it.
You got a powerful personality. That's a good thing. I shouldn't say scare, because that's a strong word. You terrify me. Got it. Look at that picture. It's got to be true.
Look, hers is better though.
Oh, well, it just has more ups and downs.
Is mine flipping somehow? Oh no, it's a piece of bread. It definitely
Oh, it looks like this, doesn't it? It totally does look like that. Oh my God.
For sure, yeah.
It reminds me of the picture I took on Monday when everything crapped up here, and I took pictures of all the equipment with my finger in the picture and sent it to the IT department. It's amazing. That got a response when I did that. When I'm nice, it doesn't get a response. Life lesson there, I guess. You're welcome. Yes. Stay healthy, people. Stay healthy. Try to stay healthy. Sometimes it's out of our hands, obviously, but try to stay healthy. Hydrate. Apologize for lack of editing. Anybody watching this? It's like I have the time to edit it. I want to get it to you in a timely fashion. I'm also not sure why I'm squinting. But just rest assured, I'm thinking of you, sending you healing thoughts. And I'm also realizing I forgot to shave this morning. Remember, I tried to warn you to drop the class before week 2 so you get your money back. Who's taking stats next term? Anybody taking stats next term? Okay.
I might be. Yeah.
Who's taking the fall?
I'm taking no.
Maybe the fall? Okay, we'll do it in the fall. We'll do it again in the fall. I think I'm doing a face-to-face in the fall, and I'm hoping I do it in Redmond or here. I'm not sure yet. I haven't gotten my full schedule yet. I know that the other stats guy wants to teach it online, which he has no idea what he's getting himself into. I love teaching it online, personally, and I wish I could teach it online again, but Jackie said, anyway, whatever. So I'll try to get a section of it here or in Redmond, one of the two. See what I can do. Haven't taught it in person in a while. It'll be fun. Get to roll dice, throw lawn darts, spin pennies some more, throw bocce balls. Oh, you know, we do it here. We can do it out in the yard. Oh, dude, we play lawn darts on the fairground over there. Oh. That'll be fun. Okay, I'm gonna stop you right now. Economic inflation, what'd you find? Rate of increase in prices over a given period of time. Thank you. I think that's a very concise definition. Anybody find anything different? Or is that pretty much what everybody found?
Yeah.
Pretty much, yeah. Rate of increases in time over a given period of time. Rate of increases in price over a given period of time. I like that. Did anybody figure out why it's there? This is I didn't ask this on the warm-up. I'm just curious, as you were Googling around, did anybody see why it exists? Elena, go ahead.
Like the countries that reduce money that you make.
Okay, so this is an interesting point, and I've always asked people this, like, why do we have economic inflation? And the response often is, well, because like if you work a job, like year after year after year, you get a raise. So economic inflation makes sense because if you're getting a raise, that's not where you're going. I'm so sorry, I misunderstood you. Go ahead.
Also, if the country prints money and they print too much, then the money's actually worth less.
Ah, well that sounds like a Federal Reserve problem. If they just printed the correct amount, we wouldn't get into that problem, right? Right. So, and this is, you've opened up a can of worms there, just so you know, and I love that can of worms you opened because it's one of the problems I have with the Federal Reserve is they're almost like another branch of government anymore. The way the Federal Reserve is used is almost like another branch of government. But you're right. They are the ones that actually control inflation in a lot of ways. You ever hear when presidents catch flack because gas prices are up or egg prices are up? Just ignore any argument you hear about that. The president has little to nothing to do with any of that. It's the Fed and global markets that are controlling that. Just put that in your head right now. But the question, though, is even if the Fed does everything right and prints the correct amount of money, did you hear we're going to lose a penny, most likely? Have you heard that in the news in the past couple of weeks? Finally, after like 100 years. So if you start finding pennies, start putting them in your pocket, start saving them. They're actually worth like 3 times more than their face value in materials. Super fun. Anyway, even if the Fed prints the right amount of money, there's still economic inflation. Why? And I don't know the answer to that. I don't think anybody does. Whenever you start chasing that, it's like a cat chasing its tail. The reason I mentioned wages, Elena, was I used to have this discussion with a buddy of mine with a business degree. And he's like, well, you have to have inflation. I'm like, why? He's like, well, you expect more money every year for your job. I'm like, I expect more money every year for my job because things keep getting more expensive. He's like, exactly. I'm like, no, not exactly. That's a cat chasing, that's a chicken egg thing. Yeah. I need more money because things are getting more expensive. I wouldn't need more money if things stayed the same. And he's like, that doesn't make any sense. I'm like, it makes total sense. Go ahead, Ray.
I think what Elena might have also mentioned,
Yes.
as businesses make more money, they can afford to charge more, which makes things go up. Because they're
That's economics, though.
It's economics.
That's oh, hang on. Say that again. As businesses
Make more money, they can afford to charge more because their profit margin increases.
But that's impacted also by the demand on the product. And how can they afford to make more? Oh boy.
Not make more, just charge more.
But, okay, but okay, if they charge more, then the consumer has to be willing to pay more. Which means they have to have more money, and one of the ways to have more money is to get paid more every year.
Not necessarily.
No.
Well, wage stagnation is a big thing right now.
Well, wage stagnation only exists because inflation exists. No, seriously, like literally, the term wage stagnation only exists because inflation exists. if you made the same thing every year and things didn't get more expensive every year, then a stagnant wage would be a fair wage. It would just simply maintain the same thing. This is where I always get, my brain gets twisted around thinking about this because it almost seems like it's a self-perpetuating cycle. So, let's stop worrying about why it's there and just worry about how to measure it. How's that sound? Because that's, honestly, this is not a business class, it's not an economics class. I just wanted to float that idea, and I never thought about the business end of it like that. That's kind of cool. But then the business, yeah, anyway, I'm not gonna think about it too much because it's gonna make my head spin. I took one economics class one time, taught by a guy named Farley Grubb. He wore a bow tie every day, and he had a humongous mole on his nose right here. That's all I remember about Farley. And I remember nothing about that class. It made no sense to me whatsoever. His bow ties are cute, though. Okay, now, if something costed $2,000 in April 2022, just looking down at this next little bit here, and inflation over the following year was 4.93, how much should that same thing cost in April 2023? Now, we're going to do this together. I want to make sure you see the math behind inflation, because it's not hard. The math isn't hard. The understanding of why it's there is very challenging, but the math of inflation is not hard at all. Assuming it followed inflation exactly. Let's do this one together. Yeah. And let's round to the nearest hundredth of a percent, which is what long-term inflation seems to be measured in the US. That's dumb. We're going to round off to the nearest cent, not a percent. Whatever. We'll get to that point in a second. Okay. So here we are. Did that confuse you too, Chanel? Sorry, dude. So April, why am I using blue? April 2022. Let's improve now. How much did it cost? $2,000. We're going to inflate it forward to April 2023. Now it's going to get more expensive. We don't know why, but inflation. Hashtag inflation. So, how do we bring it forward and inflate it by that percentage? Don't overthink this. It's going to be 4.93% more. Tell me the math.
Multiply.
I love that. Multiply what by what? I love this, Nicole. Go.
2,000 by 0.049.
Ooh, so take 2,000, multiply it by, say that again, Nicole. I love what you just said.
0.0493.
I love that you changed it to a decimal. That makes me so happy. Thank you, dear friend. Oh, Chanel told you to do it? Thank you, dear friend. Okay. Oh, I should spin this way a little bit so we can see it better. There we go. Sorry about that. Okay, so what is this? I can't do this in my head. What does this end up being, friends?
2,098.6.
Oh, okay, so 98.60. This is 98.60.
Yeah.
Good. Oh. Okay, time out. You just gave me an idea. Actually, no. We'll come back to that. This is $98.60. That's what I'm hearing. Got it. I was going to say it's just about 100, because if that was 5%, this would be exactly $100. So it's a little bit shy. So that's not what it cost in April 2023, right?
Right.
What do we have to do to this?
Add it.
Thank you. So I'm going to call this solution method number 1, which I love, by the way. So that's the inflated part. That's the inflation. But then we have to add to it the base amount, right? This is the base. So you add it together, and you get $2,098.60. Fair enough? $2,098.60. Okay, now, here it is over here. You gave me an idea, though. Did anybody do it differently? There's another way I think that could actually speed the process. Not that this was super slow, but Elena, there's a sped up process, isn't there? Go ahead, give it to me.
I multiplied 2,000 by 104.93 over 100.
So I'm gonna make one change, but only one change. And it's not really a change, it's just a rephrasing of what you said, which I love, by the way. So you could actually start just like Nicole and Chanel did. But instead of multiplying by 0.0493, multiply by 1.0493. Why? What does that do? That saves you a step. Everybody. First of all, what does that equal? Everybody do that math right now. I know you're pissed at me, Chanel. I know you are. I can tell. It's okay. It's a no, I can tell. I know that look. That was the 4-4's lab look right there is what that was. What does this equal?
2098.
Ah. So what does that 1 represent out there? You say that again. You say that again.
A whole.
It's the whole. And in this case, the whole number you started with. You're bringing the 2,000 along for the ride. Because 1.04, so the way Elena said it, I'm going to say the way Elena said it was, she said she multiplied not by 1.0493. You said, Elena, your exact words were 104.93 over 100. That's what you said.
I was doing that because I was thinking in percent.
No, that's exactly what it is. That's percent. This is per 1, but they're mathematically the same thing. But when this reduces down, you get 1.0493. Now, nobody thinks about it like this, but that's equal to 1 plus 0.0493, which is what you all did back here. This is the 0.0493 part, and that's the 1 part. It's just that those are decimal versions of the percentages. Fair? Does that make sense? Okay, good. Good. Right, go, baby.
So can you throw a 1 on any interest percent rate?
Yep. And thank God we're at the, we'll see how the future holds. It's only 1 right now. And it hasn't gone to like 2 and 3 because we've never experienced economic inflation that's 143%. We generally, and this is what you're going to be looking at in your take-home exam with the price of eggs. When you look at eggs year over year, they change by anywhere between 0, it's never 0%. Actually, there was 1 year where I think it was 0%. It was 1 change, I forget. It's never more than like 10% year to year. Theoretically, if the Fed screws things up really bad, Elena, we could end up with massive inflation, which is in the hundreds, 50% inflation, 60% inflation, 110% inflation. Now, until it gets that bad, yes, you can just put the 1 out front, and that's going to be a good skill for us to use throughout the rest of the day. Okay, you ready? I think you are. I know you are. I know you are. Give number 2 a shot. It cost $2,098.60, which you just figured out, right? You just figured that out in April 2023, and then it jumped up to $2,400 a year later. Tell me what the inflation rate was over that year. So this is a backwards question, right? It's a backwards question. I'm telling you what it inflated to. So I gave you the start number and I'm giving you the end number, and I'm asking you to figure out what the inflation rate was. Why? Because I'm a jerk. You do that. And I did use real inflation numbers for these, just so you know. I mean, the number, the 2,000 I made up, but I used actual inflation for those years over years. And we're going to look at those today. And then stop after you do. I want to make sure we do. I should have put a stop and let's regroup after every one of these. So let's just stop after 2 and make sure we get the number and we understand it.
I noticed that yesterday.
What did I do? Oh God, what did I do?
Like, girl.
What did I do?
I just would prefer to do the longest possible.
Oh, possible calculation. Gotcha.
When I check in with people, they're like, well, we got the same thing. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I have no complaint with that.
Yeah.
I have no complaint with that. I've always, I think, Allie, I may have even told you this in '98 when we were talking about dimensional analysis and processes and things like that. I would never fault a student for doing more than is necessary, so long as it makes sense to you and it gets you where you need to be.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't bother me at all. But it can be frustrating sometimes when you're like, oh, all I had to do was like this, and then I'm done. I get it, like it's frustrating, but you know, you're a great student, so just go with that.
Sometimes it trips me up though if I'm like, oh, I
Ken.
can try to do this
Ken,
other way.
because the more steps you have, the more chance you have of screwing a step up, which then populates down the line.
Yeah.
But that's also why I grade like I grade. Like if you screw up, like especially like on take-home exams when you have multiple steps, if you screw up in like step 2 of 10, I'll knock you for 2, but then I won't knock you for the rest of it
Yeah.
because that's just not fair.
Right.
So anyway, okay, we have a rate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're scared to say. Allie, you're not scared to say.
13.
13%?
I got 14.36.
14.36%?
Nothing.
Okay, we're getting, okay, dissension amongst the ranks. Let's figure it out. Let's figure it out.
I got both.
You got both? Oh! Pick the one you, pick the inflation rate you want. I see that you have the price of eggs this week is $7.99. Would you take 4? Can I convince you to take, I have a very nice watch.
One of them's gotta be right.
One of them's gotta be, well, but both of them can't be. So, okay, tell me how we can do this. Tell me how we can do it. And don't overthink it. Allie, give me the procedure, not the number, but the procedure.
I did the new price minus the old price.
Ooh!
And I divided it by the old price.
Oh, I like that. Oh, I like that very much. So, Josiah, you're nodding along. You did the same thing?
And
Did that
then
originally.
You did that originally? Oh, but you didn't like that then? No.
She did it a different way.
Oh! So, okay, so I'm hearing one that, so one price is, see how much it increased, which looks like it's about, what is that, 200 and, or 302.40? Did I do that math right?
301 for it.
301 for it, forgot to carry the one, damn. So it increased by $301.40.
Yeah,
That was the percent increase, and then divide that by where it started.
and then I multiplied it by it.
And then multiply it by 100 to make a percent. I love that, I love that. No, Chanel, you don't like that.
I mean, I love that, that's just not what I did.
That's, okay, so how did you do it?
Farley Brown, so I took 2,098 and then 60 cents and I divided by 24, and then I got 0.874, and then I subtracted that from 100%.
Okay, so because this is, it involves division and multiplication. Hopefully you're seeing that right away. And it's really clear with the latest solution here. I'm gonna lean on your solution pretty heavily right now because it's the most direct solution. You take your base amount, multiply it by the inflation rate, and you get the new amount. So this right here is kind of that rate of inflation. Now I know it's got the 1 on there. So technically speaking, the rate is just the part on that side of the decimal. But this whole thing can be viewed as the inflation multiplier, if that makes sense. Let's lean on that. Let's lean on that. So in order to repeat what we did here, we would take 2,098.60, multiply it by whatever that rate was, and get 2,400. Does that make sense? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
We just don't know what the rate is yet. But I think we can solve this pretty quickly, can't we, Nicole? You've got 2,098.60 times something equals that.
So you would divide.
So you would divide both sides of this by that. So your rate is going to be equal to, I think this is Josiah, I think this is what you said, ish. 2,400 divided by that starting amount.
So it's been 14.
2,098.60, which is going to be 1 point something, is it not? It's going to be, we know it's going to be 1 point something because that number's bigger than that number. So it's got to be 1 point something. Hope, what'd you get, my dear friend?
I think I'm right.
I bet you are. 1 point,
1, 4.
1, 4. What's the next digit?
3.
1, 4, 3. So we're going to call it 1.14.
Yep.
Which means what was the inflation rate without the 1, without using that first one, because the Fed will never talk about that 1 out in front. They only talk about the decimal part. So 1.14. The 1 means it got more expensive. What's this part mean? What was the inflation rate from April 2023 to April 2024? 14% annual inflation. Yes!
So we did it both ways.
Got you. The thing is, when you divided it the other way,
It did it so wrong. Yeah.
it's not that it was wrong. It's not that it was wrong at all.
But it's not giving us the information you're asking for.
Correct. You're saying, what you're answering is, what percent of the new price was the old price? But inflation asks it the other way. It says, oh, that's what it was. what did it take to get it to the new price? And the problem with division is that division doesn't operate in the same, there's a word in math called commutativity. It sounds like it sounds like the way you get disease from each other, but it's not that. What's that word? Communicable. There it is. It sounds like communicable, but it's actually commutative. What it means is there's certain operations you can do both ways and you get the same answer. Like, we talked about this in 98 a little bit. 6 times 8 is 48. 8 times 6 is 48. 5 times 7 is 35. 7 times 5 is 35. 1 divided by 2 is 0.5. 2 divided by 1 is 2. So division is not commutative, so you end up getting slightly different results. So Chanel, when you said you divided the this guy by that guy, right?
Yeah,
I'm gonna do it real quick.
Yeah, I did it both ways.
No, I love that you did. That makes me so damn happy. I'm not gonna lie to you. 2098.6 divided by the 2400, right? I just divided by 24,000. Let's do 2400. Inflation's not that bad. Okay, and you get 0.8744, some blah, 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 right?
Yeah.
Then you subtracted that from 1, and you got 13%, right?
Yeah.
But when you divide it the other way, you get 14, and that's because division isn't commutative. You're off by about 0.5%. You see the difference?
Yeah.
That's why I slowed us down. That's the only reason. That's the only reason I slowed us down, right there. Is that fair? So basically, I'm going to write a general equation on the board over here that we're going to use over and over again today, and we're going to actually edit it as we go. Okay. General inflation model. You don't have to write this down yet because we're going to edit it as we go today. It's going to become more fun and more correct as we go because inflation is often more interesting to look at not just over 1 year, but over many years, which is what we're leaning towards today. We're going to look at inflation over many years, and it is amazing to me how many people cannot do this math. Blows my mind. Okay, so we're going to, inflation model, work in progress. Work in progress. Previous amount. It starts with a P. There we go. Previous amount. And this amount is going to be a cost. Most often, I'm going to put dollars right here because we're usually caring about how much something costs. When's the last time you talked about inflation and it wasn't about money? Never. You never talk about that, right? You talk about dollars. So you take that previous amount, you multiply it by a rate, and you get the new inflated amount. Which is also in dollars. The rate doesn't have a unit. It's percent, as Elena said, but those are unitless. And this rate usually is 1 plus, what should we call that last little bit? The 1 means it got more expensive, right?
Yeah.
What should we call the last little bit? The 1 plus, like the 14% over there? What should we call that? You know, I'm going to put a question mark there for now. We'll come up with a name for it later. How's that sound? We'll come up with something good that we all like. Today, you're going to see a lot of 1s. 1 plus blah, 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 blah. Ray, it's possible to see a 0 out there. It's possible to see a 0 out in front. If you see a 0 out in front, bad stuff is happening in the economy. That's called deflation.
Yeah.
That's when things get cheaper, which everybody sitting in the room going, I don't understand. Why is that a problem? Well, it's a problem because it hints at something more. The last time it happened, if I remember correctly, I think the egg prices show it, would have been about 15 to 20 years ago. There were a couple, actually I asked you to Google what happened then that caused that. When global things happen that strike at the heart of the global economy, deflation can happen. And that's actually bad because it sounds great. Things cost less, right? Things cost less. Unfortunately, it also hits your savings. You start earning less on your investments, your bank accounts earn less. It's not just the cost of goods that you purchase. The interest rate controls so many things that the Fed controls, which is one of the reasons I take umbrage a little bit with their power. Umbrage, holy crap! I don't get to use that. Okay, back to the warm-up. This is a fun one. Maybe. So, you probably heard this phrase before, average rate of inflation. Okay. Average rate of inflation. So what I would like you to do now is, I'm going to leave this here actually. And we're going to go there. Yes. We're going to go over to here. Let me zoom in a little bit here. And then go to this board. What I'd like you to do now, is I want you to start in April 2022 with something that costs $2,000. I want you to get to April 2024 where it costs $2,400, right? But you're still going to inflate that price twice. So you're going to make a stop at April 2023. I'm not telling you how much it is because I'm a jerk. But I want you to apply the rate once here and that same rate here to get from here to here. I'm going to slow that down and say it again. Remember how we had two different rates up here? From 2022 to 2023, the rate was 4.93%. Remember that? 4.93%, thank you. And then from 2023 to 2024, it was like closer to 14%. I want you to come up with a single number that would do the exact same thing. So the same number here and here that would still get you to 2,400 after two inflations. Does that make sense? Puzzle through it. I'm not telling you how to do it. Again, because I'm a jerk.
Bonus to calculate the inflation rate?
Yes. Yes. What single inflation rate? I should make that clearer. Oh, thank you for asking that question. I'm going to make a little note on there for next time. Calculate the single inflation rate. It's not going to be either 4.93 or 14, FYI. I can't tell if that was like a surprise sound or the sound of you dry heaving, Ray. It's okay, either way, we'll make peace with it. I'm not telling you how to do it, again, because I'm a jerk. I want you to puzzle through it. This is my gaze.
It sounds good.
Yeah.
The sound is good.
Kid, you stay right there. How did you think of that? Does this trigger something in your memory? Like, I remember something like this before. I love that now. I love it. Not only do I love that you
And it
remember
just
it.
makes a lot of sense.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. And good, thank you. Appreciate you. So good. So good. And round it off. Did I tell you it rounds to 2 decimals?
No.
I didn't. Oh yeah, I did. 130%. Yes, I did. Don't you tell me no. Get out of this room. Take Allie with you. Take Allie with you. She's crying.
I don't know, we'll see.
That's okay. Exactly. If you don't know, if you're like, I have no idea how to do this, put your hand, just cross your hands. Like I have to do in Catholic school. Or strike a pose like Mariah's doing. Strike. Oh, she's not. She's looking at Josiah. I thought you were striking a Vogue pose. Works too. Give me a thumbs up. Give me a thumbs sideways if you're like, I hate this problem. I have no idea, or I have no idea how to do this problem. Like this is throwing me for a loop. Oh, we like it, Nicole? No, I just changed the rules. Yeah, give me a thumbs up. Give me some kind of a thumb or a middle finger if we don't like the way this problem is going. Yeah. Yes, there we go. That was not only a thumbs up. I treasure you. Okay. Josiah's still working. Let me know when you want to just regroup, because this is not trivial. But as soon as you see it, you're going to think, oh, that makes sense because of what we talked about up here. It's actually a simpler version of this, believe it or not. It's less work than this to use one rate instead of two. It's actually, Josiah, you're seeing it? You're starting to see how it's less work with one than two? Yeah, you are. Yeah, you are. So here's the thing. Think about it logically first. Think about it logically first.
Okay.
Can the rate, oh, you got it? Okay, go ahead. Okay, good. Hold tight. can the rate be bigger than 14%?
Yes.
Logically. If we're going to apply it 2 times,
Yeah.
can it be bigger than 14? It can't be. Because that would blow it up bigger than 24%. Watch, here, watch. I'm glad we asked this question. I wasn't planning on asking this question. Hang on. Let's bring this over here. Okay, we're going to use Google as a calculator here. Okay, so if we took $2,000 and multiplied it by 1.14, which would be, everybody agree that would be 14% inflation?
Yeah, like doing all.
Okay, that would take us up to $2,280, which, if you remember, was more than it was in 2098.60, right? So then, if we apply 14% inflation to that new amount, it's going. Say that again, Nicole. That's going to be over 2,400. So it can't be bigger than 14%. Same token. Could it be less than 4? What do you say, Mariah? What did you just notice?
Nothing.
You didn't? Are you sure? You sang something though, and it was lovely. No?
I did, but.
You did. Okay, I'll let it go. Okay. By the same token, can it be less than 4.93%? No, because that wouldn't get us up to 2,400. Watch. If we start with 2,000 and inflate it by the 0.493, that's that number you remember, the 2,098.6, right? Then if we use that same rate again, I'm gotta turn the camera on. I'm so sorry, everybody watching at home. Damn it, this should be looking at the screen, not the sideboard right now. Okay, there we go. If we inflate it again, we didn't get to 2,400. So 4.93 is too small to use twice. 14% is too big to use twice. So the rate we have to use is somewhere in between. Did anybody try averaging them? Add them up, divided by 2. Anybody give that a shot? And it didn't work, did it?
Oh.
It didn't work. That's okay. Ashton, treasure you. Thank you. So one thing you can try to do is add the 2 rates together and divide by 2 and call that an average rate. Let's do that. Let's just do it real quick. Okay? If we take those 2 rates, don't write this down, because this is not the correct way to do it. But when you hear the word average, your brain might go to add up and divide by 2, right? Does that make sense? Okay, that's the 2 added together. And if I take those and divide by 2, I get 9.465, about 9.47%. Okay? So let's try that rate. 2,000 times 1.095. 1.095. Okay, that gets me to 2023. Now I gotta do it again for 2024. Damn! It's close! It's really close, isn't it? It's really close. I mean, that's almost $2,400 bucks. It's not quite right, is it? Nicole, what do you think?
I'm taking 2,000 times 1.125.
1.125? How'd you get that?
She kept plugging it in.
Oh! Kept plugging in numbers till you got it? I like that answer. Let's try it. So 2,000, 1.125. That's a 1 1/8% rate of inflation. That's what it would be after 1 year of inflation, Nicole. Let's use it again. Ah, damn! It's $100 too much. Okay, I'm gonna increase. What's the matter, Hope? What's the matter? Try 10% even. I love this. Try 10% even. Mariah's, you're making all kinds of fun, like, poker faces today. I'd play cards with you today, I would. 10%, Hope? Check this out. Hope says try 10%. How about 1.1? That's 10%, isn't it? That's 1 plus the 10%. Okay, there's 2023, Hope. God, $20 too much. It's close. It's close. Okay,
Show us.
stop guessing.
Show us, please.
Stop guessing. No, you can guess all day long, because eventually, if you keep guessing, you will get it to some degree of accuracy that you need. You will. But it might take a while. Let's think about this procedurally. I was hopefully giving you a hint. Every time I did the math up here, I was giving you a hint by what is in this Google search bar. Can you see what I did up here?
Started with your 2000.
I started 2000, and then what did I do here,
You're
Michelle?
trying to get to your 24, like,
And in particular, what did I do right here?
you doubled it because.
I multiplied it doubly, did I not? The part that's challenging right now is we don't know what those two things are.
Yeah.
But check this out. You ready? We can figure it out right over here on this sideboard. Now, we don't know what the rates are, but that's okay. We didn't know what the rate was back in number 2 on the warm-up either, did we? We just called it rate, and we solved for it. Guess what we're going to do now? We're going to solve for it. You ready?
Yeah.
We start with 2,000. We do not know what this rate is, but we know it's the same rate that's here. So we're going to multiply by that rate here. Here's the news. I don't even care what it equals in 2023. I just know it has to get to 2,400 by here. So I'm just going to bypass knowing what it equals here and then just multiply by the rate a second time. What does that equal?